Hey everybody, this is the Demolition Man from Venom Inc. and you're listening to Heavy Demons, E.Vil.
So, dear Demolition Man, what shall the fans expect from E.Vil? Something damn heavy, I guess.
Well, yes, I think so. I mean, the title of it is our salute to the fans, really. It has two meanings, of course. The Satanist, the cover is about, you know, a smirking Satanist coming to us and showing us, you know, with his sheep and showing us that what we've done across the wasteland and who we are as humans, what we're doing to each other. But also it's a salute to E.Vil, it's a salute to the fans because they've driven this band since we started with Abaddon. It brought us all the way to this point. They wanted an album, and so we've delivered an album, and it's for them. And I think on Friday we released an edited version of the single Dein Fleisch, Your Flesh, from the album. That single probably doesn't represent the album so much as a social experiment, just to see, because it's a very dark single, and the video is only 4-minute edit of a 7-minute song from the album. But what was interesting was releasing that on Friday, very different and not what people expected us to put out. But sitting back and watching the reaction to it was quite phenomenal. And it could have been very easy for us to put out the title track, Ave Satanas, or even Metal We Bleed, which is a fast-paced song and quite old school from the album. But then that was like too easy. That was too obvious. It's like, you know, this is what we want as old school. And they were responding like we'd let them down by putting Dein Fleisch, you know, some industrial Rammstein shit they were saying, which made me laugh. But I just thought, well, look, this is a test to see if you're actually listening. Are you actually watching? You know, on the one hand, we've been touring, and the audience has driven the songs that we played. The audience have asked for the songs to be played. So I've tried to find all those songs that people haven't heard so much often. Of course, there's the obvious ones, Countess Bathory's Welcome to Hell, but other songs that they didn't get a chance to hear so much live back in the day, and we've been playing those. And so they want to hear those, and on the other hand, they want us to do something new. And then when you do something new, they want to hear just something old, and then they criticize you for doing that, and they criticize you for doing that. And I thought this is quite interesting. So, you know, we put out something that was completely not what they were expecting, and the reaction was as I expected. But you know, more for the positive than the negative. You're the lifeblood of this whole thing. It's your band, it's your music, and if it wasn't for you, we wouldn't be doing it. And so that's our salute to you. And the second theme is mankind, you know, what the fuck are we doing? You know, in order for, when Venom released albums in the early 80s, it was a shock to people because it was anti-establishment, but anti-religion. And that was like, ooh, that was taboo to do that. You know, you don't say you're going to stick your cock in Jesus' ear and you're going to spit on the Virgin and you're going to fuck the Trinity. And, you know, those things were like, what? No way. And people were scared, you know, of that was so flagrantly anti everything that was symbolic of religion. But these days, you know, with a record, how are you going to shock anybody? What are you going to talk about? The Germans, the concentration camps, Slayer did that. It's like, you know, we're confronted on television and on the internet daily by millions of images, millions of reports of the most incredibly amazing things, and the most in both ways, for the good and for the bad. So to do an album that might shock somebody these days is like, it's impossible. It's impossible. Yeah. You know, so I think what I wanted to do with this, and I feel Mantis did the same, is just explore something a bit more philosophical, and make people think a bit more, go, fucking hell, do you realize we're always in a state of war? We're perpetually in a state of war. You know, the confrontation of these terrific images have become so normalized because we see them everywhere that we're kind of used to seeing them, you know. And I think that's a shame. We shouldn't be used to seeing them. We should always be horrified by seeing them. The same darkness is in there, you know. With metal music, it's synonymous, or black metal in particular, or all those, and you know, even black metal isn't synonymous with the satanic, but blues were synonymous with you know, selling your soul to the devil to play the blues. You know, so it's always been a theme. Rock and roll. You know, there was something evil about Elvis because he shook his hips back then in the 50s. So it's always been synonymous with people who don't conform. But then that's youth. Youth don't want to conform. Youth want to be expressive. If youth isn't expressive, you don't end up with a Michelangelo or a,
Yeah.
Leonardo da Vinci. You don't end up with these geniuses and these mavericks. So every generation has it. So I think it's just part of that.
The albums Primeval, Temples of Ice, and the Wastelands were like way more melodic and elaborate than the rest of Venom's catalog. What can you tell us about them?
Well, I think the thing is that, people tend to think that that period of the band, I've heard people say it before, and obviously that's a propaganda mantra from the other individual because
we don't need to talk about him.
it's obvious. But I think the thing is that if you look at the first 4 albums, they were progressively weakening, and then
Definitely.
when Mantis left and they did Calm Before the Storm, that was a very different album. They decided to be a kind of different band. When I went back in on Primeval, which we started writing in '88, I started writing songs for it in '88, and then we recorded in '89 and then put it out in '90. But the idea was, Abaddon asked me to. He said that they felt that they lost the identity. That's why Kronos left, and he said that maybe they had lost who they were. And they knew that I was associated from the very beginning. They knew that I was a fan and what I liked about the band. And so the idea was maybe I could see the bits that they'd gone wrong. But of course, yes, I could. And I wrote, the songs, Parasite, Black Another Priest, Carnivorous, in the theme of the stuff that I liked. Even Primeval, was kind of constructed in a way. And Jeff was kind of Seven Gatesy in a way. So that was trying to give the identity back, but because Jeff at that point was playing much more melodically, and I liked that, and I like to be expressive on the bass, it's not all about the noise for me. Of course, I like noise and I like speed and I like listening to that, but I like playing as well, and I find Jeff's style and my style just works very well together, so we have a playability, and we wanted to explore that, so we just went with what we wanted to play, and again, it wasn't constructed or aimed. We didn't go right. We have to write another black metal, and we have to write another Welcome to Hell, and we have to write another War with Satan. We didn't think any of that. We just wrote songs that we went, wow, that sounds really cool, and then played them and then did them. I guess my range vocally is a bit more than the old singers, and my bass playing was a bit more advanced than the old singers. And I'm not trying to offend any fans who go, oh, you think you're this and that. It's not about that. It's just about the reality.
Yeah.
Some people can drive and some people can't drive. Some people can drive well and some people can drive but not well. And it's just about that. Can you park a car? You can, this guy can't. And it was, I just had those tools. So in order, there's no point trying to copy someone else if you're an individual. But also, if I was going to try and play just like that, then it wouldn't be who I was. So I couldn't do that. I had to play it my way, and that meant that we ended up, being able to do more melodic stuff, which we enjoyed, and even Abaddon today, if you ask him his favorite Venom album, he say it's Primeval.
Like me, my favorite ever.
Thank you, but I don't think it's because he has a beef with anybody. I think it's because he felt that he could actually just really express himself on that album, and he felt comfortable playing because it was more him, I guess. It felt more like him, he thought. So, we've got melodic stuff on this album, is it a progression from Primeval, Wastelands or Temples? Well, it's me and Tony and Jeff, so it's me, Mantis and Abaddon, so I guess if you look at that, then I guess it is. But I feel it's more the identity of the band from the 80s as well. If it's old school, it's because Mantis is composed, and he composed the majority of Welcome to Hell, the majority of black metal, and so it's got his stamp on it. So I think it's got bits of me in it, bits of Abaddon in it, bits of a lot of Mantis in it, so it's definitely us. Is it an extension from just the period I did? Well, yes, of course it is. But is it just part of the legacy? Yes, I think it is. I think we embrace everything that we are as people as well as musicians.
Yeah, and like I was talking with Marco Melzi from Minotauro Records from Italy, who re-released the Atomcraft records. Are you planning to do something in the future? I mean, with Atomcraft?
Well, yeah, there's always. I mean, that release is superb. But you know, I just had some old tapes and I put them together. And I didn't remaster them. I didn't do anything with them. So some people loved it and some people hated it. And it's like these were moments in time which were captured, and I didn't want to do anything with them. I just wanted to present those moments in time. And they did such an amazing job with the packaging. It's my favorite packaging. But yeah, there's always offers to do something with Atomcraft, and in Italy I get asked a lot. But I just think that the band was quite underground, but very close to me. It's part of who I am. I love Italy, and one of the most amazing times of my life was in 1985 on the Nightmare tour with Exodus and Venom, where Atomcraft opened the shows, and Italy was just phenomenal. And I think that was when I fell in love with Italy, and I've been going the rest of my life. I've been going back visiting everywhere I've been, in the most incredible places, and most of them are on my skin now. Foggia, Roma. It just it's close to my heart. So I think, yes, I'd love to do some more Atomcraft. The whole idea with Incorporated, Mickey, was, you know, not to go, there's two Venoms or anything. This is Venom Inc., Venom Incorporated, which means all of the music that we do. Mantis has his solo projects that he does. Abaddon has his band Abaddon. I can do Atomcraft, and we both have Empire of Evil. So it means that we can do, Incorporate means...
Incorporate, yeah.
It's everything under the fact that we were all part of Venom.
So, well, like a final message, greeting to the Italian fans and the Italian bands.
Well, of course, I have so many Italian friends and the glorious Italian fans. I mean, where do you start? Mortuary Drip, the Mugshots, the Heligators, Necrodetta, of course, AC and Bulldozer. I mean, just Extrema, you know, I mean... Italy just has some of the most wondrous bands and music and friends. I feel like it's my second home. Whenever I step off a plane or I get off a bus and I'm in Italy, it feels like, thank fuck, I'm home. You know, the food, the people, the wine, the language, the beauty, it's just all wondrous. And I can't thank fans enough for, you know, being there for us and supporting us. And I really want I want you guys to keep your mind open. Just listen to the album and come to the shows, and you don't have to make any choices. It isn't about this one or that one or anything else. Look, every day of our lives we're dealing with the most blatant politics going on, you know, corruption in Italy. We all know about it, and you're suffering under that. And the same for us, and the same for people everywhere else. And so our escape is through our art, and our art is our music. That is our art. You know, the heavy metal rock music in Italy is the new opera, and tattooing is the new, you know, masters, the grand masters. You know, the new Michelangelo isn't somewhere painting a ceiling on a church. He's in a tattoo shop somewhere, probably in Rome. It's probably Yama, wealthy Yama in Rome, you know, creating the most amazing art on someone's skin. You know, these are the new arts. You know, we're all one brotherhood and sisterhood. You know, it's what brings us all together, and it's part of who we are. And I'd just like to say one thing to Peso, of course, Flegas, and the boys from Necrodetta, is that I managed to get your name on the album, and I was really pleased about it. We do a song called The Evil Dead, and the very last word I say is Necrodeath. So I just wanted to let you know that, you know. I didn't, Mickey, I'm sorry I didn't get the mugshots on there, but I couldn't quite fit it into to the song War. But I will next time, I promise.
Yeah, no problem. You already did an amazing job on our album.
Well, that was such a pleasure to be part of and to be asked. And then when you asked me, it was a real treat, and I really enjoyed it. And I wish you much success, especially with the Death Essence. I wish I could have been part of the tribute thing, because I do love Steve and I do love the band, but I'm sure it'll be absolutely superb.